Good afternoon. It's September 29, 2024. We're critiquing the news. The article on your screen is from the Sunday Mail. It's titled, "We are cooking with gas," and it's about the illogical and irrational rules that the Australian Labor Liberal Uni Party has applied to our methane gas production to battle the sky dragons that they call CO2 global warming, which of course doesn't happen, because if it did, we would have seen about 50 major climate predictions eventuate since 1982, and in fact we've seen precisely none of them. All we've got is one big lie told over and over again, and we never see any evidence of truth to that hypothesis. Now, in this specific case, we have new industry figures that show that in New South Wales, just 5 gas wells were drilled in 2013, 17 in 2014, and 1 in 2020, compared to 730 coal seam gas wells a year since 2016 in Queensland. Now, the idea that we're exporting so much gas that we're now actually looking at importing it is just bizarre. And the governments that allowed the international trade agreements and the contracts to go ahead to create that situation have got no business being in our parliament. Now, the Australian Energy Market Operator is an artificial body. It was set up by the government and it's stacked with activists. There's almost nobody, I don't think there's anybody on the board at the moment that understands baseload electrical generation at all. There's some accountants and some social worker types and nobody who is capable of keeping the lights on. And they said within a few years that the supplies of gas at the East Coast could fall short during peak demand periods like winter. The Australia Institute said Australia is the third largest exporter of liquid natural gas, and the idea we would import it is like Antarctica importing ice, and indeed it is. The perfect use for gas is for the chemical industry, particularly as a precursor to fertilizer production. Without fertilizer, we can't feed the world's population. But if we burn the gas for baseload electricity, which is what is increasingly happening, we're raising the cost of fertilizer, which raises the cost of food for the world's poorest people. And in a global economy, it's always the world's poorest people who suffer the most and who suffer first. And those are people in places like Africa and parts of Asia. Now, as well as preserving gas for things like fertilizer production, we should be preserving the liquid fuels, the crude oil for transport fuels. It's the ideal transport fuel molecule. If we were to design a molecule from scratch for transport specifically, we would probably come up with the hydrocarbon molecule. And the perfect natural resource to generate baseload power is the steam engine at the mouth of the coal mine. So basically that's what a power station is. That's what a baseload coal-fired power station is. It's a big steam engine. You park it at the place where you dig up the coal, bring it to the surface, and you burn it, and you then send electricity down the wires to the people that need it. And this entire civilization is built on cheap, reliable, and abundant electricity. The people who are waging this ridiculous war on carbon dioxide, which is obviously plant food, it's the molecule that all life is based on this planet, are doing it because they're not working for us. They're taking their orders from unelected foreigners. They're doing it to collapse advanced nations. They don't have your best interests at heart. We're coming up in an election cycle now. They're asking you to re-elect them. That's the state, ALP and LNP. They're both going to do the same things in that regard. And it's the federal Liberal and Labor parties. There's only one way out of this, and that's to get them out of our parliaments.